So now you understand and see what's been happening on your planet, your home, in the last 14 days. Why is it not in the media? Why are they not telling you? They used to tell you about a 4.0 or a 3.0 here and there. They zip it. You watch what they're not telling you is the key. This is a lot of activity, and you can find it on YouTube under Dutch Sense. He started off small, but literally he has this, and he always gives like a weather update for the earthquake changes and some other changes. Now, that area he called the North American Craton, in any of these movements, in 82 times the Earth has changed her north and south pole location, and the crust has moved, those tectonic plates. This area has never moved, right here. It stays solid. It doesn't mean it doesn't shake, doesn't mean it doesn't have issues, but it doesn't move. All the world that you see has moved or shifted. The Earth itself is on a tectonic plate system, has 9 different plates. They now have a new plate that just started. So what ends up happening is those continents sit and they kind of slide around, kind of like if you had Jell-O in a pan of liquid, it kind of slides around. So when you shake it up, what happens to that Jell-O? That's right. So what happens is this is what you see happening on the planet, and this is her normal pattern of growth. And I'm just going to tell you, because this is a normal pattern, to understand a normal quality or what a normal pattern is. Because ultimately, you're going to have to recognize this is not just going to pass you by. This is not going to just go over your head. I am psychic and have been clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, all that good stuff, all those clairs. But what happens is, it was wonderful, but the gift is to be utilized for the benefit of mankind. I've done over 50,000 readings for clients, and that's a short segment and a low estimate, 50,000 plus for clients all over the world. My clients are celebrities, doctors, lawyers. They stay clients for years because of the level of accuracy. But I'm just passing on information. I actually am able to see the person's guide / guardian angel. No, it's not grandma, grandpa. But what happens is, to get the information, all I'm doing is passing on great information. But their lives have been systematically changed if they apply the information, always with their free will. So they say that I don't read like a normal reader, not some storefront gypsy, but it's important that they're getting information for the quality of their soul development and to what's happening in this life, where they need to go, move, live. All those kinds of things are possible. So, because of my skepticism, remember, all of a sudden I woke up, and my studies of metaphysics are vast and deep, degrees and this, that, and the other, but I don't stop the studies. They're constantly, I ask to be guided to the material. So in July 2010, I placed this on YouTube. In July 2010, I ended up with a waking dream. And the waking dream is important. That's the most important dream you'll ever have. The other dreams are if you dream, because there's a reason you have to work to dreaming for your soul growth. If you're not getting dreams, there's a reason why. You have to grow spiritually until they're out of black and white, and then until they're in color, and then they're more prolific. I dream literally. I don't dream with symbols. They don't have tomatoes coming running out. No, it's very literal. But that's just me and what I've worked to do. Everybody has to do their own work, internal work, their studies. So what I found was, on that morning of July 2010, they showed me the sign of Cape Town, like it was a road sign. It was that green sign or some other color, and white letters, and it was a long name, and with a white, band around the sign, rectangle. It was on 2 of those steel studs, and it was on the side of the road, but it was that word, Cape Town. I thought, yeah, Cape Town, what the heck? My conscious mind is just before the waking dream, so I'm hearing it and seeing it. And then all of a sudden they show me the word Antarctica. And I go, well, that's fine. But then they show me Cape Town sign again, and all of a sudden I see underneath, they pan out, zoom out so it's not so close. 6 to 8 inches under the Cape Town sign was nothing but frozen ice, snow, and tundra. I looked around for miles and miles, no trees, no buildings, no people, but I could hear the snow blowing across what was frozen top or ice, and see the crystals of it whipping up, and I couldn't believe it. Then they showed me the continent of Africa, where Cape Town is located at the southern tip, or near the southern tip, or the southwest tip. And they show me, and I'll just use my hand, sorry about that. They show me that the whole continent, and they took it, and they took and showed me the Cape Town move where Antarctica used to be, underneath. Then they showed me the word Antarctica again. I thought, okay. And then they panned back to the Cape Town sign. And in the distance, I could hear, actually see first, I could see a male, and he had several jackets on, like flak jackets, army or somebody, military flak. They were all black, but I could see he had several layers on and hoods to try to hold, and looks like regulation issue boots because they were open at the top. And as he walked toward the Cape Town sign, I could hear the crunch of the boot coming closer to that sign. When he got to the sign, what I found was, eerily enough, his boot was higher than the Cape Town sign. Remember, it was a road sign on the side, pretty high. His boot was higher, and there was no one else with him. And then they show me Antarctica, the change. I don't know if you're aware of this, and under Antarctica is a 600 million square mile tropical rainforest underneath Antarctica. Scientific proof, it's always been there. For it to be a tropical rainforest, for them to know, that means that it had to be a sudden move quickly. Otherwise, the stuff would have turned brown. Sudden move to push, change the planet, and make it cold in that particular spot, which we then called the South Pole. So it's important that you understand, and basically I'm going to show you. From that, I went and I asked someone, because I thought, wow, I woke up, I thought, Cape Town, they said South Pole. Okay, so I can now calculate where the North Pole is going to be. I got the latitude and longitude for the South Pole, and I calculated the equidistant opposite latitude and longitude, which would be the North Pole, right? And I found exactly where it was located. It was now located, I went to tell someone, and I said, well, they just gave me this dream. They told me where the new North Pole is. They said, what? Yeah, I don't want to hear this. But later on, I found out, a couple of months, I thought, please, did you know that scientists at that time were saying, I saw that they told me that the North Pole would now be located between the Aleutian Islands off the coast of Alaska and the Russian coast, or the Siberian coast. Right there, it would be located now. And the person said, what are you talking about? Did you just say? I said, yeah, right in the middle. That scientists had only discovered that the new North Pole would be located either in Minnesota or Russia, or that one point that the guides had just showed me in the dream. So I bought that first week, actually. I bought a blow-up beach ball and put everything on there to see, and then I taped off the new equator. And I was finally able to record this on YouTube and put it up there. I guess it was last December, because I wasn't familiar with how to make a video. Notice the new equator now, past Australia, through India. You see Russia, Asia. There. Now you notice that it's a little tilted there, isn't it? Now this isn't even the tilt that's going to happen, because I couldn't, with this particular Google Earth, turn it on the angle, because the Earth always sits on a 23.5 degree angle for her axis. She's tilted on her axis. This is straight up and down. So you're going to see the equator is the right place. If we just turned her, you would still see the location. That's why there's more snow in Southern California last year. It snowed in January 2012. It has snowed from time to time, but in Southern California is rare. It stayed for a couple of days, because west is now north. And now you understand, because Canada will end up being tropical. Now you see why the weather pattern changes, which is kind of nice. So what will end up happening is the two safest places are Australia and Canada. But that does not mean that they will not be hit heavily with recurrence from the whole Earth changing her position, as she always does. So you can go on YouTube and see this. You can go on my website, it's there as well. But I recorded that, so you will now see the new location. And I thank them for telling me, and I didn't have to go to all the scientists to do all the calculations, they just told me. But I try to keep myself connected to pure information for the benefit of everybody on the planet. That's my duty, I promised. Now, they just gave me a second dream to that, May of this year. That was 2 years ago, and they gave me a second one. The waking dream they gave me was interesting. Again, it's just before you awaken. They showed me, I was sitting on the second story of a house that had white siding on it. But there was hardly anything in the house, and I was doing something, light was coming in the window, in the middle of the afternoon. All of a sudden, from sun, it went pew, pitch black, stars overhead. Window, everything. I thought, what? And I looked at the clock, and it was 3:32 p.m. wherever I was. I thought, oh, okay, I was calm. I thought, here it is. And so I went, and I remember going to a Lowe's or Home Depot to get some last minute stuff. And it was in the dark, pitch black in the afternoon, 3:32 in the afternoon. And nobody spoke in the whole store. Because everybody kind of knew, uh-oh, something's up. You could tell this foreboding inside, that feeling inside them that something was going to be up, something might be happening. And so sure enough, in the dream, I went, and as I'm walking back, I'm getting ready to pull the last little 2 pieces of drag luggage down a little road, but I was at the location. I saw the grass was long and brown, flattened, like either snow had just melted off of it or had been beaten down by rain. So I could kind of tell, since it's brown, I knew it had been an area that had been cold that it had turned brown in. And it was too long, so it hadn't been mowed or whatever, the long wild grass. And it was an area that was a remote area. And I remember walking, and as I walked down with the suitcases, bink, it turned to day again. And so I went on to where I was going, where I know, to teach you today, where it's to be safe, okay, for safety. So this is important because as I woke up, I knew that this was where I was meant to go. They're just not showing me because it was cute, and then they gave me the time, but I thought it was interesting. They didn't give me the time zone or the day. Because what happens when people know the day, they get a little crazy. They go a little antsy, and I don't want anybody to be a little crazy. I want them to prepare for the event. So it was interesting, so I understood and knew and just watched. I asked for more detail, more clues. But I knew that I was already prepared because I was leaving the home to go to the house. Now we want to show you some of the other things that are going on. Now, what's going on in the cosmos? We talked a little bit about that pole shift that they described to me, the axis shift. Right now you're not aware that the sun is doing solar flares all over the place. We also have changes in the Earth's magnetic shield that are constant. The solar flares are interesting because the sun changes her north and south pole every 11 years. Once in a while on her pattern, she'll do it every 10 years when there's a major change in the Earth. She has done that reversal. And she's done more solar flares in the last 5 years that usually when she flares, it takes a couple of days to get to the planet Earth, then it wipes out our entire electronic system. They have no lights, no power, no nothing on the Midwest or the East Coast or a large portion of the planet when those solar flares come up. So this is important for you to see or to understand. This happens. The odd thing is it tends to mirror activity happening here. So when there are huge emissions of solar flares there, we're going to have an equal opposite problem here. And it even creates an earthquake quality. SolarNet.com shows that on YouTube. And he shows if there's a big flare, he can pinpoint the area. There's probably more than likely going to be a major earthquake. But the she erupts, and then it kind of takes a couple of days to get here. The planetary alignments, they find that for some reason, everything is aligning. As I stated earlier, it's not global warming. They're all lining up. We're part of this Milky Way galaxy. The Earth is like a pinpoint prick in that galaxy. And she goes through what is a large point of the galactic center. Inside that galactic center is literally 350 trillion units of radiation. 350 trillion. That'd be nice, except that we only live under 7 million units of radiation on a daily basis. So 350 trillion is a little intense, okay? So they found, oddly enough, they just had a National Geographic or Discovery, they were talking about dinosaur bones, and the scientists said that every bone in every museum has to be coated with a special paint because every dinosaur bone has high concentration of radiation. Now, doesn't that make more sense than, you know, how can I say it, being hit on the planet or they being wiped out with a bomb or whatever it was? That they were hit by a cataclysmic event. They're too large to hide. They're big. And they were wiped out with this big radioactivity that goes through as we go through that galactic center, as we always do. The odd thing about that galactic center is Edgar Cayce talks about it. Nostradamus talked about it. The galactic center, he was the one that coined the word Ophiuchus. Because between early December, late November, those 10 days are only happening once every 26,000 years. No, it's not a new sign in the zodiac. It usually heralds we're on our way to guide up and go through that galactic center. That's a signal for us. And that happened, it was at least 2 years ago. We lined up to go through that center. Now, we talk about the planet Nibiru. I don't know if you've heard of that. Planet X, Hercolibus, the brown dwarf star, all those are talked about. And I'm going to show you these presents. And we now know that people are talking about UFOs, there's so much, what's happening. But I wanted you to see these are the cosmic events. We saw the natural events that are happening on the planet. And at the same time, we have these lovely, wonderful cosmic events that are going on for us.